All right, good night, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another ASEA Global Expansion Team Zoom. Tonight, we're going to be talking about questions. And I don't know about your habits, but I know that I was not in the habit of asking a lot of questions. I was in the habit of telling people stuff. And if you're telling people stuff, if you're telling, you're selling. So asking questions and getting to know people, as Tyler Norton would say, by name, by spirit, by really getting to know them and, building a relationship. We're in relationship marketing. So what I'd like you to do tonight, I hope you have a piece of paper and a pencil and like you could tap the chat button, but we're going to do a lot of questions for the whole half an hour tonight and see how many questions we can come up with. Now, of course, when you're in a conversation with somebody, you don't have a rote list of questions. It's not like an interview. I mean, I've been interviewing people on LinkedIn lately, and in that case, it is a rote, set of questions. But normally when you're in a conversation, you're listening intently with an intention to understand, and it gradually organically leads to another question. So here are some questions that we might just want to, think about. We can brainstorm. And if you have some good questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and I'll read them out. But how about some of these? Have you ever asked anybody when you're talking to them, just in general, you're not talking to them about ASEA, but you're just trying to, kind of get a feeling for how their life is. Do you ever ask people, are you set up for retirement? How many streams of income do you have? Some people don't even think about that. We're taught to have one stream, and God forbid if something were to happen to us and our stream of income were to stop, our money would stop in a lot of cases. So you might want to ask somebody, how many streams of income do you have? And get them thinking. And you might even want to go into that explanation or clarity. So does that mean, God forbid, that if something were to happen to you, that your income stream would stop? Just get them thinking. What do you do for work? Right? Do you love it? Are you getting paid what you're worth? Have you ever considered working for yourself? That's a good question, especially for people who are considering building an ASEA business. If they're not the type of self-starter, entrepreneurial thinker, they probably have never thought about working for themselves. If they have, they might be a good candidate to build an ASEA business. How about, do you have a commute? The one thing we wanted to eliminate when we started our ASEA business was Bo's commute. I was so afraid he was going to get killed on that road. So that's a good question to ask. I just met a person the other day, and she's a consultant, and she had to drive an hour and a half to her work and an hour and a half home, 3 hours in the car every single day. And the main thing she wants to get out of is her commute. Are you doing anything proactively for your health? It's an interesting question, The other question that you might want to ask, if you're just getting to know somebody and you want to underline the next question that you're going to ask, is, may I ask you a question? It's kind of like asking permission. Instead of just, kind of preaching to somebody and, giving them your opinion, just ask permission. So may I ask you a question? I asked that question before I asked somebody how many streams of income do they have, because that might be a little bit more personal. So I'll say, can I ask you a question? How many streams of income do you have? Right. And then there's this setup called FORM, and maybe you've heard of it: family, occupation, recreation, and money. So when you're thinking about questions and you're getting to know somebody, you might want to ask them about their family. Are you married? Where do you live? Do you have children? Is that where you grew up? Do you like it there? Why do you live there? Occupation. What do you do for work? How long have you been doing that? Do you love it? Are you getting paid what you're worth? Is that your only stream of income? Here we are. I believe in multiple streams of income. Do you commute? Recreation. What do you love to do? And I'll tell you, when you ask a question, a lot of us are very uncomfortable with silence. And so when you ask a question, pause and wait for the person to reflect on your question, and then they'll answer. So don't butt in while they're thinking. They have to process this information. So when you're asking somebody about recreation, you can say, do you get to do enough of that? Or do you like, if they like to ski, do you ski a lot? Or do you like to hike? Do you like to, do you hike a lot? I wish, I don't have that much vacation or whatever. Get them talking about what they'd like to do more of. And you might want to ask if they say, no, I really don't, I love seeing my grandkids. Do you get to see them enough? No, why? If not, why not? So get clarity, just, kind of get into their world. It'll give you a much better picture of whether they're in the looking zone or not. If they're in the looking zone or the possibility zone, then you might, that means they're open-minded and they might want to learn about a new discovery or a new income stream that they can add to their family. If they're kind of closed and they, you want to open them up and get to know them a little bit. So you might want to ask them, do you believe that your body's the ultimate healing machine? I love that question. Because if I'm talking to somebody who is really, believes that the pharmaceutical companies are what's going to save them, then they're probably not a good candidate for an ASEA business. So that's a good question. Do you believe that your body is the ultimate healing machine? Do you believe that if we give the body what it needs, it'll do what it's designed to do, which is heal itself? Do you believe that? If they do, then they're probably a good candidate for ASEA. If they don't, they're probably not. Do you have enough time to do the things you want to do? A lot of people are making okay money, but they just don't have the time to do anything. So their quality of life is not great. They might have a nice bank account, but they don't have a great lifestyle. So start asking questions about time. If you had more time, how would you spend it? Or if you had more money, how would you spend it? Or you can create a scenario. If I had a magic wand and I could wave it over your head and I could help you create the perfect life, what would that look like? And now sometimes these people have never even considered what their perfect life would look like. So that's a loaded question. So it might be like, whew, man, I have no idea. I'm so busy on that, that little hamster wheel that I've never thought about those kind of things. And that's our job, to get them thinking about possibilities. If you got off that hamster wheel and you started creating the life of your design, what would that design look like? There's a book out there called Listening for Success by Steven Shapiro. I totally, highly recommend it. It's a great book. There's another book that I'm reading right now. I'm actually listening to it on Audible, and it's How to Know a Person. And it's by David Brooks. And it's a great book because it talks about illuminators. So there are these people, and they're illuminators. So they ask you questions, they're interested in you. And when they come in the room, they lighten up the room. And then there's also diminishers. And those are the people that are always talking about themselves. They never ask you about you. They kind of walk in the room and the light gets dimmer. So, and they're, taking away from the energy as opposed to adding to the energy. So it's a great book. I highly recommend it. Questions Are the Answers is another great book by Alan Pease. I saw another book that has the same title, but the one by Alan Pease is a small little book. It's not expensive, and it's specifically about network marketing. The power of asking the right questions. There's all kinds of people are really trying to noodle this, because people that are great conversationalists, people that are great communicators ask a lot of questions. And with that clarity that comes with the answers that come with the questions, comes a lot of understanding, and comes, a relationship, a connection. You really feel like you've really gotten to know a new person. So another question would be, do you like to travel? And if they like to travel, ask them, where would you like to go? And do you have plans to go there in the future? Get them thinking outside of the box. So those are some questions that I came up with, and there's no end to the questions. But let me look in the chat. I see that we've got people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. But if you've got questions that you like to ask people, fire them off in the chat, and I'll read them off so that everybody can hear your questions. But what kind of questions do you ask people when you're out and about and you're kind of getting to know them? And I mean, what they say is, when we're promoting ourselves, you're really going to attract your tribe. You're going to attract your kind of people. And so with the questions that you ask, you can kind of clarify, because we're not in the twisting the arms business. We're in the sifting and sorting business. So by the questions that we ask, we can sift and sort, finding the people that are looking for what we have. We're not trying to arm wrestle people and get them convinced that, ASEA is the way to go from a product standpoint or from a business standpoint. But, and oftentimes it's hard to come up with another question unless they, say something to you, and then you can ask a question to them to clarify more deeply. And that's the goal of questioning, is to clarify, to understand, to gain an understanding of where that person is coming from. So what are some other questions? I don't see any that you guys have written in the chat. What are some other questions besides the, the regular, how are you? Good to see you. What are you up to? What are you doing this weekend? That kind of stuff, which is great. But when you're getting to know somebody, you're really building a relationship, or you're interviewing somebody on a social media platform, or maybe they've expressed interest from a conversation that you've had with them, or on a social media platform. There's Melanie says, what do you do for fun? There you go. And you find out they like to sail. There you go. Do you sail as much as you'd like to? Do you have a sailboat? Where do you sail? Where would you like to go? Roz says, what's your ultimate dream? I mean, that's a great question, and it might take a while for people to go, man, my ultimate dream. I mean, geez. Carolyn says, telling you where they went opens questions, but telling you that they couldn't take a vacation opens other questions. Yeah, that's true. If somebody says, yes, I absolutely love to sail, but I haven't sailed in years. Really, why not? No, because I only get 2 weeks vacation. And when I get 2 weeks vacation, I want to spend it with my grandkids, or, I have to go and, whatever. I mean, all of a sudden you're getting clarity. Really? Okay. Well, if you had more time to, have vacation, would you sail more? And if so, where would you like to go? So good point, Carolyn. Vera says, are you proactive with your health? And what do you do now? Yeah, absolutely. Getting to know if people are taking supplements right now, or if they're exercising on a regular basis, or if they, if they are eating well, if they make whole food choices, if they're eating nutrient dense food, if they're taking responsibility for their life and for their health and for their wellness, then they're a good candidate for ASEA. If they're not, then they're going to come up with all kinds of objections like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive, and la, 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 la. Somebody that's proactive with their health, when they what's going on with ASEA, I mean, it's a no-brainer. They can't even believe this is true. Kim says, how do you young people, let's see, how do young people like yourself pay for their education? Oh, great question. Great question. So are they paying for it? Are they working a couple jobs outside of their education in order to pay off their school loans, or are their parents paying for it? So great question. Do we really want $1 million or just financial freedom? True. And $1 million is not financial freedom for some people. And $1 million is way more than they need for other people. So, getting an idea of, how much money is enough money for you to really live the life that you want to live. I mean, I tell people, listen, I don't have to be the richest person in the world. I just like to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and I don't want my pocketbook to slow me down. So, Carolyn says reasons why they couldn't do something could be because they have been downsized, lost their job during COVID, the company closed, they don't have savings, their job doesn't pay them enough, or they don't have any, or they have family to support. Oh yeah, when you get inside some people's lives, it's just shocking what you learn. Oh my gosh, that's, you start to realize, oh my goodness, how the heck, where you realize how blessed you are when you realize some of the things that other people have to deal with. So, yes, Kim says, are you looking forward to retirement? There's people that I've talked to, they said, I don't know how I'm ever going to retire. I'm definitely not set up for retirement. And I talked to somebody the other day that has retired, and she has no, I mean, she's got Social Security coming in, but that doesn't pay anything. So you work your whole life, then you retire, and what are you going to do? Sit home and knit? I mean, Carolyn says, are you doing what you've always dreamed you would do? I saw something on Facebook that said, if you did what you were going to do as a child, what would you be doing now? And I wanted to be an actress. Well, as soon as I found out that, soap operas were part of the path, I'm like, I don't want to do soap operas. Right. So, a lot of people, I think it's very few people knew that they wanted to be a financial planner at age 6. So, as life has evolved and you've gone through school and now you're spit out into the real world, are you doing what you really want to do? I mean, when Bo got spit out into the real world, all of a sudden he realized he really wanted to be an architect. But when he found out that it had to go back to school and do 8 more years of school, he said, no way, I'm not doing that. So he's built 2 houses for us, and that's kind of satiated that desire. But Carolyn says 80% of actors are always out of work. It's so true. It's such a hard way to make a living. Our son is a very amazing artist, and all of a sudden he came to his senses during college, and he said, I'm going to be a really horrible starving artist. So I think I'm going to take some business classes. And now he's doing very well in business. So at some point we just got to get real. And unfortunately, some people got real. They got stuck into a position that paid the bills, but it does not power their passion. It's not something that they're passionate about. And that's what we really want to help people understand, that they can weave this into the nooks and crannies of their life and create an additional income stream. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time, because we have the app, we have the back office, we have the studies. I hope you guys have seen the new NRF2 pathway white paper. I tell people I don't expect you to read it, but I want to show you what kind of caliber of biotech company you're working with. I mean, these guys have got it going on. I hope you also know about the redoxscience.com site. Great site, great tools to leverage to really let people know that we're not messing around. This is for real. And so when you know that what you've got is for real, and that the people at the company know what they're doing as far as running a company, then you're not so desperate. I mean, you're really grateful when somebody can't get their act together and you've eliminated them from, prospecting them. It really takes a lot of weight off your shoulders, because you know that they would just be a weight around your neck as you started to build your own ASEA business anyway. So, you sift and sort and find these powerhouse people that get it. The sparks go on and they go, you're kidding me? You've got redox signaling molecules in a bottle, and you're the only company in the world that has it with absolutely no competition. I mean, those are the people that light up when they find out about that. Are you kidding me? Carolyn says you can have lots of jobs with high psychic income, art, etc., or jobs with monetary income, but most people don't have both. Yes, absolutely. A lot of people, if they're artists, they do art on the side. It's a side hustle. It's a side gig, but they really make their money selling real estate or doing whatever they're doing. So yeah, there's a funny balance out there that there's people that have a lot of money, but they don't have enough time. And then there's people that have a lot of time, but they don't have enough money. And the balance is the key, that you want enough money and enough time to live the life of your design. Candy says, many dreams from growing up in Aspen still believe for them to come true. Oh yeah, never stop dreaming. But the thing is about that, it's very important to have a dream and vision boards and all that, but it's more important to take steps in the direction of your dreams, to take action to manifest your dreams, not just to sit there. I mean, you're welcome to, it's your life to fantasize and, imagine and all that stuff. And it's very important to do that, but you have to act or it's never going to become a reality. You have to do what it takes to, to make it happen. So God can't steer a parked car, so you got to move and shift and ask and listen, pay attention and clarify and ask pre-qualifying questions. I mean, you're going to eliminate a lot of frustration in this business when you ask the questions that eliminate some people because you realize that this just is not right for them. Maybe the product or the business, neither one is right for them, right? And there's other people where you think, wow, this is absolutely right up their alley. I was interviewing somebody the other day and I thought this was right up her alley. And then she got back to me and she said she just wasn't into pyramid selling, which was a whole nother conversation because she was way into the science. She was way into everything we had going on, but she didn't understand the business model. So anyway, I tried to patch that up as best I could. She's young. She clearly doesn't understand network marketing or she wouldn't have come back to me with that objection phrased in that way. So as soon as somebody says pyramid selling, they have no idea what they're talking about. So, it's too bad, but there's plenty of fish in the sea that want what we have. So, the other kinds of questions that you can ask is, questions that help you clarify whether that person is really a self-starter that has an entrepreneurial mindset. Daniela Matthews and I were talking the other day and, I told her, I said, I don't know if you considered yourself an entrepreneur, and she didn't. And I said, I don't even know if I considered myself an entrepreneur. I really didn't, but I was definitely entrepreneurial thinking. And so was Danielle. So, and I bet you are too. I bet you're entrepreneurial thinking. Like you're open to making other streams of income. You're open to learning about new discoveries. You're open to, learning. You're curious about people. You are the kind of people that are going to find companies like ASEA because of the way you are. There's other people that don't want to discover ASEA because they just don't have the mindset. They might be the laggards in that, that curve of people. So let's see. Sally says, people often tell me that network marketing is a pyramid scheme. So, let's go over this. So questions, when people have an objection about network marketing, you might want to ask them, have you had a bad experience with network marketing? And just understand, because I'll tell you, some of the stories that come out from these people, no wonder they don't like network marketing. Some of these stories are absolutely incredible that's what happened. So gain an understanding by asking questions like, if somebody says it's a pyramid scheme, you can go into your big sales pitch about pyramid schemes are illegal and la, 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 but it's better to get them talking, because when they say it, it's true. When you say it, it might come off as a sales pitch. So try to, instead of telling them what a pyramid scheme is, ask them, why do you think it's a pyramid scheme? Or tell me what a pyramid scheme is. Ask them to tell you what a pyramid scheme is. So if you get in the habit of answering a question with another question, it's going to keep the conversation going and get them talking to you from their understanding. And that is going to benefit you much better in the long run because now you really know what's going on inside their head. Carolyn says self-starters are only 14% of the population, so we're fishing in a small pond. Yeah. How are we brought up? We're brought up to, kindergarten used to mean prepare for war, and now it means prepare for work. So when we get prepared for work, we go to school, then we graduate, and then we get a good job and we work for the man, right? That's what we do. Well, unless you're one of us, and then that's not what we're going to do. We want to work for ourselves, but we understand that working for ourselves is a huge undertaking. And so finding a happy medium where you can partner with a multi-million-dollar company like ASEA, they do, in my opinion, all the hard stuff, and we do the easy stuff. We're their people marketing department, and they do everything else. Now we're talking. So a lot of people don't understand that's how network marketing works. Roz says, are you living the life you designed, or that one that was designed for you? I love that question, because it's kind of like, are you the puppet or are you the puppeteer, right? Are you in control of your life, or is somebody else in control of your life? And have you ever really sat back and thought about the life that you want to live? Or are you just living the life that your parents expected you to live, or your, whoever expected you to live? So I love that question, Roz. Kim says, ask what they know about MLM. So good. So good. Because most people don't know a lot about multi-level marketing. And if they do say MLM, they might have an old school concept of what this business entails. I mean, in the old days, you sent all the product to one person and then they divvied up the product. You sent the check to one person and they divvied up the check. So a lot of people don't realize that we've gotten way past that. The internet changed this industry, and that the internet made this industry a very legitimate industry if you're with the right company. So absolutely, Kim, get them talking about network marketing, and so that you can, gain an understanding of where they are, where their mindset is. So Carolyn says, before the Industrial Revolution, most people were not employees. Yeah, I mean, this country, we had Gerald Ford speak at a talk that we had, a network marketing talk that we had, and he thanked us. He said, I want to thank you people in the audience, because our country was built with people like you. And so you're absolutely right, Carolyn, that small business is how this country was started. And, when corporations started taking over, a lot of people lost their independence and a lot of people lost their freedom. So absolutely. The employee paradigm. Yeah. When people are thinking from an employee paradigm, they're being expected to, be told what to do, how to live, how much money to make, how to do everything, as opposed to thinking for themselves. One of the things that Virtus has always taught us to do is think, because most people just react. They don't think. And you start to think outside the box. I used to work with a guy that said, when you're in the box and that's all that's your comfort zone, you're in the box and you want to get out of the box. The thing is, the instructions of how to get out of the box are written on the outside of the box. So oftentimes we need someone else to help us get out of the box. And that's what we say in network marketing, especially in ASEA. We say you're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself, because you've got a whole team here to support you. And those are the people that are reading you the instructions that are on the outside of the box, showing you how to build a business that can lead to this life of your design. So Candy says, as a flight attendant of 31 years, I work in a pyramid scheme. We're only paid for flight time. So our boarding and deplaning time is not paid, kind of like a commute, not paid for the commute, most people. If there is a mechanical at the gate, we're not paid. And if we're at the gate and there's a delay, we're not paid. And so be nice to the flight attendants. We do love our passengers, just some of the challenges with the job that we love. Yeah, absolutely. So, that's a little insight into somebody who's a flight attendant, right? They, Candy absolutely loves what she does, but it might make a lot of sense for her to have an additional stream of income. So when there are flight delays, or, when she's, has trouble with her plan A, her plan B fills in the gaps. So yeah, absolutely. And when Kim says, Candy, I had no idea. The wonderful thing about asking questions is that you're going to learn. If you're listening, you're learning. If you're talking, you already have that information in your head. So anyway, listen, we're at the bottom of the half hour. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I really hope that you take some time and really practice asking questions and listening. I had somebody challenge me to ask 7 questions before I even brought up ASEA. And so that might be a good game that you can play to see if you can get in the habit of asking questions and really getting a much better understanding of the people that you're speaking with. So thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.